Oh, hello. Hopefully you can hear me. I know this mask doesn't have a voice diaphragm and I won't have it on very long because obviously it's going to be a bit annoying for streaming with it on. But yeah, the World Health Organization has just declared it a global health emergency. So it's actually pretty serious now. So I'll take that off because I had it on for the thumbnail. Don't forget to like the stream so YouTube shares it a bit more. And yeah, so it just gets worse and worse, basically. If you've not been following the map, it's got to India now. And that is not a good sign because lots of areas in India, not all of them, of course, but lots of areas in India have very high population densities and very poor sanitation, where people are very poor, which means it will spread like wildfire. And what was really concerning, I was watching a news thing earlier, and they were saying to like a doctor on there, how bad is it? And he was going, oh, it's not going to be as deadly as SARS, but it's probably going to kill more people than the Spanish flu, like really casually. And it's the Spanish flu of 1918 killed more people than World War One. It's like, and nobody goes, oh shit, that's bad. It's like, so he just casually mentions that and they just move on. So yeah, I'll stream again tomorrow. I won't be streaming Saturday because I'll be at work and then out in the evening. Well, the Finish M61, all the filters are the same. They don't have variants of the filters for the different versions, but the point is that it's better than nothing, but you really ought to get a 60 to 40 millimeter thing. P3 or P100 filters preferably. As I was saying before in today's video, if you really can't get those due to all the filters selling out, a P2 or P2.5 mask isn't a bad shout, but you really do want P3. And you want to get, if you get a dust mask, you want to get a good one. But obviously you want more than one dust mask because they're designed not to be worn for very long. This is one that I'll put on for like 20 minutes if I need to do something and then put it away again. I'm just to warn people right now, because there's already 106 people on. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, if you've just joined. I won't be able to keep up with all the comments as usual, so it'll be if I spot a really good question or something, or somebody does a super chat, then I'll read it out, but otherwise it's just going to be following it and just discussing when I see good comments. If you didn't see Weapon Collector's video he did on it today, watch that, because he did a good survival kit. Also, these conveniently arrived today, and I was going to include them in today's video, and I forgot. But let's see if they fit me all right. Corona isn't in the UK yet officially. Whether or not it actually is, I don't know. But it's not been. They've not. There's no cases known about in the UK yet. But as I said, the problem is it's spreading faster and faster. More and more videos coming out of China seem to show people saying that the government there is completely lying and they've lost complete control of the situation in like places like Wuhan. Yep, they've just declared it a pandemic. It's a global health emergency. So everybody who was saying it's fine for like the last week or so has now said, oh no, it's not fine. How have they sealed this bag? Have I just cut right? Ah, there we go. I cut right on the line of the line. Right, stay safe. This has a really interesting smell. It's almost pleasant, but it's weird. I can't work out what that smells of. Anyway, let's see how good British Army NBC gloves are, because I didn't actually have any of these. But Dipco 9.5 from 1985. All right. Pretty tight. There we go. I won't be able to type very well with these on, but I thought I'd try them on because I've got a few types of NBC gloves, but a lot of people said the British Army ones were good. Whether or not they meant newer ones than this, I don't know, but at least if I want to pretend to be a soldier in threads soon, I've got the right equipment to do it now. I've even got like the Plessy behind me somewhere in that box. You can just see a bit of the orange sticking out. So I can wear this in an S6 and look at this and go, oh, it's not radiation, it's a virus, and that won't tell me anything to do with that. So there we go. So yeah, these aren't too bad for finger maneuverability. There's still that kind of annoying thing of they're tight, but they're still not tight. In all honesty, nitrile gloves are probably a lot better than gloves like this, just disposable nitrile gloves, but I suppose these look a bit more dramatic, don't they? Yeah, I will. When I do a review and a video showing the Plessy, I will do it with the Mark III NBC suit on, the S6, and the old Mark IV helmet. But all right, Richard. So why isn't it first, Ben? Why is it not going to come to the UK full stop? Why is it not going to come full stop? I want to know that, because it hasn't stopped it going to lots of other countries. And how is the NHS going to deal with it? I just want to know, because nobody can seem to deal with it at the moment. It's like if the official survival rates are true, then it's not too bad in terms of people just dealing with it on themselves. But bear in mind, the NHS is under pressure as it is, and in the affected areas of China, even the communist drafting in supplies can't deal with it. Thank you, S303. Got it from Primark ages ago, but I suppose the title on it is pretty relevant for now. Alcohol can cure it, apparently. I haven't started it yet. I thought rather than being classy and having a proper glass for alcohol today, even though I've never been using wine glasses in a while. Thank you, Marcus. Yeah, and don't forget to like the stream, everybody. I thought I'd have a themed merch mug to make the best of a horrible situation. So every time I drink alcohol on the stream. But speaking of alcohol, see that massive thing behind me? If you're interested in what I got, because I was running low on the 70%. Another 5-litre big kind of jerry can type thing of the rubbing alcohol. This one's 99.9%, where some people say that isn't actually as good as 70% for killing stuff, but you can water it down yourself, which is a lot cheaper than buying 70%, and then obviously getting less stuff in it. All right, cool. Heart caraft with the traffic warden with the sunglasses on. Look on the map. I know this map's a bit slow updating, but look on the map. Because you can see red dots in all the countries where it is. But it's in France, Germany by the look of it, Finland. But the big scary one today is it's reached India, which is where it can potentially get really, really bad. I think it'd be more like the solvent, wouldn't it, at 99%, where it'd probably just be like sniffing petrol glue or something. Some of them ship already. It depends. Depends which retailer you buy from. Yeah. The thing is as well that's important to bear in mind of this, that, you know, is if you look at the total deaths versus total recovered, the numbers are really scary. If you look at the total infected, total deaths and total recovered, the survival rate is pretty good. But the issue is you don't know the people who are currently infected and neither dead or cured, you know, how serious it is for them. So, yeah. If you're in Russia, OM, can you literally get a PMKS or one of those nice mag masks, or like a PPM 88/GP9 in like really good condition? Because it should be quite easy if you're over there, really. Oh, saying that, you know, the what's it mask I've got, and I'm trying to remember where I've put it. You know, the ROU, that like Russian mask like that, that would work fine for this. I'm just going to block him, Mike, because you've warned him several times not to spam his name unless he's donated, and he hasn't donated. It depends. I mean, the best thing to do if it gets really bad is just literally sit at home with supplies and not go outside. But you know, Right, at the moment, I cannot tell you what a good price for different masks is because the price of all the masks has just gone whoop because of the corona stuff. So, yeah, at the moment, you know, when people say what is the normal surplus price, that doesn't even apply anymore. You know, just find the cheapest one you can get if you're deciding to buy something. FM12 is normally like over 50 quid anyway, so now they're probably well over 100. Like there's S10s going for over 100 at the moment. You know, masks that would normally be 30 quid are 60, 70 quid. The problem is, like I said, is people are panic buying because lots of people have never thought ever about getting a gas mask before or any kind of, you know, prepping stuff whatsoever. And I don't mean prepping as in like doomsday prepping, you know, just no survival sort of supplies whatsoever. And all of a sudden gone like, oh shit, we actually need something like this. That's just the empty bag for the PMK Freener. Right, if you look in the description, I've got a link for a few different types of masks. One of my favourites, if I can spot it, I've not got it in the room, have I? I've got it in my car. But the Spaziani TR2002 is really good. I was trying to work out where I got that Climax mask stored, but I have no fucking clue where I put it. Let me just look in the top of this box without knocking everything off. I really don't want to break this, so I need to find somewhere. Oh, I can put that over there, and that's a lot safer. There we go. Right, what's up there? Did I store any masks in here? So I'm trying to be careful because they've got too much shit on top. The Israeli civilian masks in here. What else have I got in there? Traeger M62 or M65, whichever one it is. Ooh, who's this? That's the Israeli M15. Oh, for people asking about them, these would be a fairly good choice for the time being. Although these are designed as disposable ones. So, although these masks are advertised as kind of disposable models, because you can get these in both P2 and P3, these would be worth potentially getting if they're still not stupidly overpriced. Because they come in essentially a sealed vacuum-packed bag, and then it's, you know, like a 3M mask. You just can't change the filters. I've already done a video ages ago showing you how to make like fallout masks, so just follow that tutorial. No, you can't use glasses and masks unless you get optical inserts for them. But right, that's interesting. But yeah. So yeah, these 3M masks, although these are the cheap disposable ones, these are actually fairly good because they're obviously a lot better than cheap dust masks. Just a collector FGS. Originally, I was sort of keen on going into the military when I was a lot younger, but then when I was still in school, I was diagnosed with asthma, so medically unfit to serve. You know, and then my health kept getting worse and worse, but I still find a lot of that stuff interesting. What you mean? So if you've used the filter and you come back into the house, I just store them on the mask by the door. Right, cheers, JOS3P4. Your name's quite long, but thank you. Do you mean which one? The problem is the Chinese end up on loads of their masks, just literally putting buzzwords like that on. Do you mean the MF11/FMJ05? If you mean that mask, that is good. It's like an old Chinese military model that they've kind of upgraded past now, but they made so many of them in kind of... Oh, what's the name for it? Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because there's over 300 people on now. Basically, when China made the masks for military service, they also mass-produced them without drinking tubes to sell as exports. Do I have it handy in this room? If I do, I'll show you it. Just because it's worth showing it if I've got it handy, but I don't know if I do, annoyingly. The problem is when you have so many masks. Yes, I do, okay. Right. You're on about this one. The problem is the one I got ages ago, I didn't. I only found one that was in small, and it's a bit too small for me. If you get one in medium, it should be fine for most people. But if you're on about this mask, yes, it's good. Unscrew this bit. I don't know why it's got a random bit there. You know, but there you go. So let's stick a filter on it. I think NATO filters even work with this, all right? But I've got a Polish one behind there, so I'll just stick a Polish one on it. Just need to get the thread pitch right. Oh, actually, does it not like this filter? Can't tell if it's cross-threading or not. But anyway, so that's that. Inside is very simple. You've got a basic oral nasal cup. No, I want to keep it Marcus because it's a collection more just for collectors' sake and talking about it, not selling it. The thing is, at the moment, I could actually get loads for a lot of these masks secondhand, but I don't want to even sell them. Because first, it would seem like a really shitty thing to do if, you know, I was selling them basically and then overcharging people just because people are desperate for them. And, you know, I just like having them about because if somebody says, can you do another video on this mask and I've sold it, I can't really. If you're interested in how the voice diaphragm exhale valve works on these, it's got like a rubber drum bit in the middle, and then it's got the exhale valve, a 2-part one there and there. So that sits in there like that, just behind the plastic cover. Right, so 6-point head harness, and it's fairly good adjustable straps. So bear in mind, this one is too small for me because I bought this years ago when you couldn't find these very easily in the UK. And the small was the only one I could get. I've got one on order now that's a medium, just because I'd like to do an updated video on it. Cheers, Sour Banana. It would depend on what country you're in and what sort of laws you've got. I wouldn't want to say anything that would get me legally in trouble in the UK, as in shoot them. But, you know, it would depend on what your local laws are. I'm just trying to find where that strap's gone. There it is. So there you go. As I said, this is too small for me. I need a medium, not a small on this. But for what it is, it's actually a pretty good mask, especially for £20. As I said, it's the mask the Chinese army used for quite a long time. Decent enough field of view. I imagine you can hear me fairly well. The MF11 / FMJ05. It's not an FMJ05 because it's a version without the drinking tube. But yeah, Chinese MF11 masks. It's the one I've been, you know, there's a link below, I think, to one of them where we ended up finding loads of different masks with Weapon Collector the other day and putting them for things so he could paste them in and I could, you know, put them below so people could find them. But for what they are very good. You know, especially if you're getting it again in that $20 to $30 sort of pound range. The other, for people asking, are Israeli masks good? Yes, both the 4A1 and M15 are good. But remember, get the right filters. Because the problem is at the moment is it seems a lot of people kind of aren't understanding the thing of it mostly comes down to the filter as long as you've got an okay mask. But yeah, like I've been saying, anybody saying, will a P3 half-face mask with goggles be fine? Yes, it will. They were going crazy even before they had a few cases. It's just because it's been declared a global health emergency. And you see, the problem is, like I said, I'm not actually a prepper, and I have nothing against people that prep as long as it's done sensibly. And I think basically if it's done sensibly, it's a very smart thing. But the issue is with like all the gas mask type stuff is lots of people just never think of it, never consider it. As soon as something happens, then they all rush out to buy them. MP5s are good as long as you get one in good condition. It could, Kongu, what, like as in silica gel? It could, I don't know. I've got one of those like HEPA air filters in my room, which, you know, like sucks dust into it and the dust gets trapped in it. So they're pretty useful. But the problem is if somebody's coughing and sneezing all over different surfaces, you know, those surfaces are still going to hold an infection for a couple of days. GP9 mag, never use one. I've got one on order at the moment, so I can review it and say how good it is. But yeah, for the person asking who donated, so thanks again, about how would you defend yourself, I guess don't make yourself an easy target. And, you know, whatever your country's laws are towards self-defense, sorry, you know, follow them and all that. The problem is, because I'm in the UK and our shitty legislators get very annoyed if we sound like we're intending harm to people, I won't say, you know, what I would do, because then if I ended up doing it, they might say, oh, you pre-planned it. Anyway, this mead's got a weird sort of floral smell to it, as well as the honey. It's all right. But anyway, look, it's in a merch mug. All right, I'm not going to fill it up too much because it's actually fairly strong mead. It tastes really sweet, so it doesn't taste very alcoholic, and then you can swig it back really quickly and forget. But can it come through because I have a GP5 and 2? If you've got a GP5 on with a filter, no, it can't come through. Yeah, I mean, if you're wearing a plastic bottle over your head, right, like some of the people were, it would protect you against people sneezing directly in your face, you know, a bit like a riot mask would. The issue is it's going to provide no air filtration. Yeah, I like Doom. I haven't played the newest Doom, or I can't remember if it was even out, but the Doom that came out in 2015 or 2016, whenever it was, I've got that and barely played it. As for Doom 3, wasn't a massive fan of Doom 3. Cheers, Little Vamp, thank you very much. And the original Dooms, like the original two Dooms, you know, like Doom 1 and Doom 2, Hell on Earth, I do really like. There's also the weird, like, 2-level pack Doom thing, wasn't there, they released for the original Dooms. There's also, like, lots of good Doom mods as well. But what, like the whole island got quarantined, you mean, Deus Vault? That'd be interesting, like an Escape from New York kind of thing. I just have to bunker down, wouldn't I? I can see, Visa, if I can sort you out one, because you can refill spray bottles with it and then dilute it as you want. Let me see if I can find it. Again, I might not necessarily find the same seller I bought it from, but I'll try and find it. Oh yeah, this is it, because it's actually cheaper, isn't it, to buy the 99% one. So 99%. It looks like they've run out now, weirdly enough, of the big ones. But if you look at this guy, you could probably find other sellers with it. I'm not driving tonight because obviously I've been drinking. But I've got Dacia Sanderos in my car just because it's like one of the cheapest cars you can get over here, and they work fairly well. Whereas before that, I had a Mark IV Golf, as in a Golf GTI. And that was a lovely car. But the issue with a Mark IV GTI was that because it was like 18 years old at the time, sort of, I eventually got rid of it. Oh, what am I drinking? I'll go to that in a second, mead. But with the old Mark IV GTI, the issue was, as it got older and older, it was just costing more and more and more to keep it on the road. You know, like where you'd have to have major engine reworks do and stuff like that. So yeah, mead. Let me show you the bottle. Where did I put the bottle? There it is. So I don't know if YouTube likes me promoting alcohol, but there's another brand of mead that's quite good over here, but I don't know if it's discontinued or not. I've got some more bottles on order. So it says Lancaster Mead, and then there's the label. So mead's honey wine. Thank you very much, Insulted. Will the label focus on that? Will it focus? There we go. What percent is it? I think 14.5, isn't it? Yeah, 14.5. I think the other mead I've got is either 14% or 15%. The other mead, though, is way too easy to get drunk on, in the sense that it's like, you know, one of those weird ones where the percent, you know, like you can't taste the alcohol in it. It just tastes like having a really nice sweet drink. I've got 95% vodka in the cupboard in Salted, or I think it's technically grain alcohol, isn't it? But one I bought from Poland. Yeah, I might have tried that video base. The other one I like is Broadlands Mead, I think it's called. But I think, sadly, they discontinued it, or it's only certain times of the year they bottle it. So what ends up happening is you go for ages where you can't buy it, or the price of the bottles is stupid. But that's a very good one. It's just grown somewhere else in the UK. Right. How do you mean a foggy mask? Do you mean it's fogged up because of like you breathing in it, or it's fogged up because it's been damaged somehow? All right, Tom. Hard to keep up with the chat again, but yeah. So they've said it's a global health emergency. But if you mean it's fogged up because it doesn't have an oral nasal couple or whatever, I mean all these ones do behind me. But you can get stuff that you spray on the inside of like diving scuba masks, can't you? That's meant to be very good at keeping them defogged. If it's one where you just need to clean it, you can use things like that rubbing alcohol again. You know, wipe it on the thing. So yeah, everybody's watching again at the moment, so the views are going up again and again. But everywhere's selling out of gas masks now, it seems, for everybody asking me about it. So yeah. That's all right, David. Which ones did you end up going for in the end? Because I've had so many people asking me at the moment, like, would this filter work with this mask, and having to look into it. Yeah, weirdly, even I have no training in it other than reading lots of old manuals, watching lots of old civil defense films and finding it interesting. But I think the nice thing, at least of a virus, is it's not nerve agent. So, you know, it's not like you need a full rubberized NBC suit on or whatever and need to know to have it on beforehand. But have you seen, Tom, the video that some of the videos coming out of China? Because you probably find this really interesting of... like where there's the guys there that are saying like they don't care if the secret police arrest them and that, but they're saying like it's way, way worse than they're letting on. You know, like all the hospitals are overfilled. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Because, yeah, you can't really simulate that stuff. I mean, I know there was some fucked up stuff a lot of the armies did during the Cold War or whatever, where they basically did human trials of it without telling people, because they did that in the UK at Porton Down, where they used to test nerve agents on soldiers and basically get them to sign up for a really cheap, like, raise, and told them that, you know, they were testing the cure for the common cold and kept killing them that way. But... yeah, but there's a really good video that I imagine might get memory hold quite soon. It's worth people watching it. Let me put a link in the stream to it, actually, and people watch it after the stream or download it. The only annoying thing is I think if you download it straight from YouTube, you won't get the captions on it. But it's basically like a Chinese guy who's a journalist, and he's saying that it's just got really, really bad. And basically the secret police or just regular police are asking where he is and trying to find him, and he thinks he might already be infected. So he basically says, fuck you, Chinese Communist Party, you know, I'm either going to die of the virus or your secret police are going to get me, but the world needs to know what's going on. So it's, let's see if I can find the video. I think it went on today. I know it's getting spread around a lot, but I'm sure they're going to memory hole it. Why can't I find it? It was like a 28-minute video, I think. Right, let me see if it's still on the Discord I had up earlier. And then I'll post it in the chat for everyone to see. But it's one of those videos, it really wouldn't surprise me if it gets taken down for some bullshit reason. But the thing you're seeing in a lot of these places is basically, you know, loads of Chinese people basically saying that it is really bad, you know, and I found it, it's still on there, right? Bookmark this, everybody, and watch it after the stream if it's still around. Oh, yeah, that's right, Mike. I've already found it, though, because I posted it to other people as well. But, yeah, that video is really worth watching. It's 28 minutes, and you need to obviously watch it with subtitles, but it's really worth watching. Because, you know, it's a guy saying that, you know, he wanted to have complete faith in everything, and it's just, you know, the thing he was saying was that, you can't get, he was saying Wuhan's actually a really big city, and he's saying you can't get really around without a taxi or a car. There's no, like, gasoline or petrol anywhere. Right, cool, I will do after the stream, Tom, if I remember. I'm sure I will remember, but yeah. So, yeah, he was saying they've, what was it, like, yeah, there's no petrol or gasoline everywhere, because they've closed down all the gas stations, you know, like, no diesel, petrol, gasoline, whatever you want to call it. All the taxis have been co-opted basically for government use for moving around their supplies or moving around, you know, builders or whatever. So you can't get a taxi anywhere. If you're really ill, you're obviously not going to be able to cycle or do anything like that. So basically people can't get to hospitals because of the distances. If they do get to the hospital, they tell you don't have enough test kits anymore, so they can't test you for coronavirus. When you go in the hospital, there's just dead people lying everywhere and people on ventilators, just being left there because there's not enough doctors. So it's basically a case of you can't get to the hospital. If you get to the hospital, there's not enough tests. Even if you get treated in the hospital, there's not enough supplies. And then the doctors, there's not enough doctors because they're all falling ill because they weren't given proper protective gear to begin with. They were just given surgical masks when obviously if this is really infectious, you need full proper respiratory protection. There's two on AliExpress, this one and this one. They're both pretty good. That's basically a rip-off of a 3M panoramic sort of mask in 40mm. And this is basically the old Chinese army style one, which is kind of like an amalgamation rip-off of other masks, but it's well enough done. But it's basically the export version that doesn't have a drinking tube, so there's no hydration system in it. But again, the problem is at the moment it's just trying to advise people on masks because everywhere thing you could normally recommend is just sold out everywhere. The prices are massively inflating at the moment. Yeah, exactly. That's what they think it started, didn't they? Like a wet market kind of thing. And it's reached India now. And that's the really frightening thing because now it's reached India. There's so many parts of India where, the sanitation is really bad and people are poor. And people are so crowded in that, it's just going to go crazy. Right, I've done a video, if you can find it on my channel, Animani, and I'll say thank you question, but I don't think you asked the question, did you? It's just your name. But going back to Animani, if I'm Animani, Animaniacs. I remember Animaniacs rule, yeah. There's an old video I've done where I cut open a particle filter from like a 3M flat one. You could do it with a dust mask as well, and put it between the filter and the hose. Post your Discord ID in the chat, mate, and then I'll invite you. But yeah, and same for anybody that donates. They can have if they post their Discord ID, I'll invite them. But yeah, what was I going to say? What I did is basically cut a P3 pad from one of the 3M P3 filters you can get. Stuck that in, screwed it closed. The problem is it makes the breathing resistance very high, but because you've got a particle filter between the filter and the mask, it would in theory block asbestos, or at least 99.7% of it. I personally wouldn't start doing it yet, chocolate muffin, but it's really hard to say because the problem is with all this, what they were saying about the period of basically where you can be spreading it but you won't know. That's the really scary thing, because if there's a 2-week incubation period potentially, people are walking around coughing and sneezing everywhere. Bloody hell, there's 429 people on now. Yeah, right. I just said, question, person whose name is question, post your Discord ID in the chat, and then I can send you a friend's request and invite you. Right, let me Google it, Slimtar, because I don't know without looking, because I don't recognize the name. O-Motor full face respirator. I'll just Google it because it's not letting me. Oh, it's actually a suggested search. Right, again, it's a Chinese rip-off of a 3M mask, it looks like. There's various designs, but again, some of them seem to have the same face piece. So I'd say, yes, it would be good enough. But don't use the Chinese filters which come with it, because most of them are garbage. Like Chinese PLA filters, the actual army filters are good. But the kind of civilian filters, they sell a complete wank. So what you need to do is, because they're 40mm NATO, you can put Western filters on them. So if you get the mask, then, the masks are all right. They're basic, but they're all right. You wouldn't want to use them against mustard gas or something, but for bacterial kind of, viral stuff. Anyway, let's see if I can find the people's IDs in the chat if they posted them. Oh, Insulted posted it. Right, let me add you, Insulted, because you donated earlier. What I'll do is I'll add everybody to my friends list in bulk, and then I'll start inviting them to the server, just because otherwise it's going to get hard to keep up the chat. Question. Yep. Thanks, he's done it. Weirdly, it was actually quite cheap, this shirt, because I think it's when Bethesda printed too many of them. They just put them all in Primark, which is like a really cheap UK clothing store. There you go. Yeah, I know you donated, but yeah, you actually have to give me your ID or I can't add you, can I? But there you go. Right, let me add you. There we go, done. Right, and then you'll get a friend's request from me and I can add you to the server. At the moment, though, that's literally all we're talking about on there, I think, is Geiger counters and coronavirus. Well, I imagine a lot of parcels might be delayed at the moment, but some of that would just be because of the Lunar New Year stuff, wouldn't it? Rather than actual... Right, add has been added. Yeah, that's the thing is, like what Tom's saying is that, yeah, you're not going to need hydration systems, really, because you're going to be wearing the mask if you have to go outside and do something. You don't want a mask on for a long time because they're not comfortable. But yeah, the point is that you just want something that makes a basically airtight seal to your face, so you've got a filter, so all the air's going through a filter, and then, you know, decontaminate stuff as you get back inside. What you really, yeah, because like I said, part of the issue, let me add you as well, Prime. Part of the issue as well is, of course, that, like I say, where things get a lot more complicated is when people want them against chemical weapons. And then you're like, wow, something like mustard gas or lewisite is designed to eat through respirators. So, you know, whether or not I would trust some Chinese mask to protect you for very long against that is another question. But whether, you know, for literally just making an airtight seal to your face, they're fine for that. Like, literally 3M industrial masks are fine for that. Right, let me just try and find the names of all the people. So Insulted's name on there was Liam something or other, wasn't it? Yeah, there we go. So same name as me. There we go. And what was the other one's name I just added? Sorry. That's the only problem with keeping up with all these. Prime is the other one. Let me add Prime to the thing. Then, there we go. I'll say hello to everybody properly on the stream after I finish. But, all right, let me just try and keep up with the chat, sorry, because it's going a bit crazy at the moment. From what they've said, for people saying how long does the virus live on surfaces, from what they've been saying at the moment, but bear in mind with a lot of this stuff at the moment, the medical stuff, they keep literally changing it. Originally, when I did my first video on coronavirus, just because a couple of subs said, could you do a video on it? They were saying you couldn't spread it through the eyes. It was just literally respiratory and stuff like that. And it only lived on surfaces for like 1 or 2 days. Now they're saying it can live on surfaces for like up to a week. Alcohol sanitizer might not even kill it. You know, and it can spread 7 feet, you know, through the eyes, through everything. I think I probably have the MP5 in my room, Michael, so I can show it you. Yeah, you can. Chocolate muffin, let me add you. So yeah, the thing is with the whole bioweapon thing is it's starting to sound more and more viable to me just because how perfect a storm it seems. You know, because if you've got something that's really hard to kill, even with like antibacterial, you know, antimicrobial stuff, and you know, you can have it for 2 weeks and spread it without even becoming ill, you know, and showing a fever or anything. So when they're flare scouting out people, you know, in the airport, that does fuck all basically. It does seem like it's a perfect thing evolved to kill people, assuming that the death rates, you know. Right. What were the names of the people I just literally added? So I can invite them to the server. Sorry, because I'm getting distracted trying to keep up with the chat. Chocolate muffin. There we go. I know there's been a thing, Andy, in the UK a while ago with Wish that they didn't let you buy stuff from Wish or something because of them getting worried, like, oh, you can buy knives from Wish and knives are used to stab people because our authoritarian government doesn't like the idea that people might own knives. Right, there's 2 types. There's antibacterial and antimicrobial, apparently. Antibacterial stuff apparently doesn't work because it's purely designed to kill bacteria, as in bugs. Antiviral kind of antimicrobial stuff should work. At work, the stuff we use when I volunteer at the Blue Cross, the stuff we use there to kill both viruses, germs, you know, like parasites, stuff like that, is called Safe 4. That really fucks my eczema up. If I use Safe 4 hand sanitizer at work, You can tell I used it today because my fingers look a bit puffy still, even though I didn't, use all that much. But that Safe 4 stuff is bloody strong, so I imagine that would kill bacteria and viruses. Cheers, chocolate muffin. But yeah, so it depends what kind of hand sanitizer you get. See that stuff? That's 99%. Because yeah, again, it depends. You can get hand sanitizers in different strength gels. Sounds exactly like the same stuff, Visa or Vesa. Yeah, I mean, where some of them might be wanting to use them in India or China, I suppose they might clog because of all the smog. But yeah, in practicality, when, like this mask, this is a good example, right? This mask is one I first bought when I started volunteering at the Blue Cross in 2015, I think it was. Late 2015, very early 2016. The reason being that because I've got hay fever and I've got asthma, when like hay dust and straw dust, when I'm working with rabbits and stuff, gets down me, it can make me really wheezy and everything. I need my inhaler. So I ended up getting one of these. I used this for months and months and months until I just ended up getting a better 3M mask that was more comfortable. And this was designed as a disposable one. Never had to throw it away, and it still works perfectly. Because yeah, the organic vapor filter bit of it with the charcoal in, that's expired, but the particulate filters still work perfectly. The thing is with particle filters, for people that don't know, is the longer you use them, actually, the more efficient they get, because as they clog with dirt, there's less and less holes for stuff to get through. Right. What's your ID, Never Task? Because I need to know what your Discord number is. But let me search both those masks, CDR 4500 or Explore. The Explore's a Draeger, isn't it? So I at least know that Draeger masks are pretty good. But if you get a Draeger mask, try and get one that's 40mm rather than one that's, in their own weird kind of proprietary filter. Right. Oh, they're both Draeger. Right. The CDR 4500 looks like it's 40mm. So I would say go for that. Just because as it's 40mm, you can get filters easier. And you're not, stuck with like, oh, I can only buy Draeger brand filters because they've designed the filter to fit in a certain way. Yeah, 508 people viewing at the moment. Jesus Christ. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't liked it already, just because it seems to help YouTube share the videos at the moment, and my views are going crazy. There we go. A random person, I really don't know, but every day it seems to be getting worse and worse. Because bear in mind, the World Health Organization recently was saying it's not going to be a problem, and then today they've upgraded it to a global emergency because, because the issue was obviously that I think they went on the Chinese government's propaganda numbers to begin with. Oh, and by the way, I've had the 5-cent warriors attacking me on my videos now for how dare I question China. And I didn't even say anything particularly harsh against the Chinese that I could have said. And I have no problem with actual Chinese people. It was against the Chinese government. Oh, thank you very much, Ron. Right. Avon C50s, they take 40mm filters. Can you get any of those Scott P3 filters, Avon P3 filters, or P100 filters, whichever they call them in your country? Right, thank you, Slim Tart. Anybody that's donated, if I haven't added you yet, keep spamming your Discord name and ID in the chat so I can actually, you'll need to put your hashtag with your Discord number, and otherwise I can't add you. But just because, obviously, I'm going to miss a lot of comments just because how fast the stream's moving with 500 odd people in it. Yep, the S10's particle filter, the old plastic one in it. Let me show you, because I've got an S10 filter here somewhere in my Avon CT12 bag. So let's make even more of a mess behind me. I really need to organise all those boxes soon, because I forgot to, Michael, but I've got, if you can't see it behind me, even more alcohol spray. Right, this is an S10 filter, or is it called the PF10, I think they call it? If you look at that there, you can hopefully see that it's got a proper paper HEPA filter in it. So you know, like the ridges, and it's made of paper. So yeah, it's a HEPA filter in there basically. So it's P3, P100 rated. Right. If it's all right with one of the moderators that's on, are you able to tell me for sure the people that have donated giving their Discord IDs? Because the problem is, as soon as people who donate start giving me their Discord IDs, people just randomly spam the chat with it. I know SPD TDL did, sorry, so let me add you now. Right, I'll have a look, Tom, just a second. Let me just add, what's his name? I need to take the space out of that, don't I? Send friends request. There we go. Right, let me just scroll up. Actually, I have to just search you, Tom, because otherwise I'm not going to even find it in the chat now. Yeah, that's a good point, Tom. But yeah, what Tom was saying, if you didn't see it, was that basically there's a lot of societal problems with this, not just the virus itself. So a big thing I imagine is going to be a stock market crash as well, because they're getting quite worried on a lot of investment things, if you've seen that. That basically that's going to be one problem. Another problem is necessarily going to be like public transport. Another thing, sorry, before I forget, because I'll lose my train of thought, is that let's say you're somebody who has an illness anyway, or some sort of health problem anyway. If you basically try and phone an ambulance and things really go to shit, good luck having emergency services respond if all the hospitals and everything else are fucking clogged anyway. What might be worth watching for people, if none of you have seen it, is this. It's about nuclear war, but the lead up to the nuclear war bit in Threads would probably show you quite accurately what would start to happen. Yep, riots, yep, all that sort of stuff starts happening in Threads. Because, yeah, the first, I think, 40 minutes to an hour of Threads is just showing everybody getting more and more panicked over the sort of escalating tension. And then you have all the people looting and sort of, you know, them stopping people going to certain places. Like when everybody tries to get on the motorway, the police are basically blockading the roads. Nobody can get fuel because they're taking it for the army. They take all like the police and military, you know, and fire brigade and all that. They take them out of the cities to put them in locations so they can respond better when a nuke goes off. You know, so that gives you some idea. Obviously, Threads is about nuclear war, and it was about if in the height of the Cold War, nuclear war went off, and just how ill-prepared Britain was. But Threads should give you a good idea of kind of what can go down. And there's probably a lot of other very good films like that that can give you some idea of just sort of the panic and, yeah. Hurricane, the thing is, I don't really know enough about Hurricane Katrina, but wasn't that where they had all the problems of, like, FEMA and just, like, cops running away and stuff like that? I mean, like, you can't blame cops doing that, but... You know, if it was that bad a situation, but where there was essentially no law because people were looting and all that sort of stuff. Imagine you'd have like disease and all that sort of problems, wouldn't you, if there was a hurricane and flooding and yeah, a beard does break the seal of a gas mask. The only way you can have a gas mask with a beard, I believe, if it's not, you know, a powered air respirator or like one with a positive pressure system, is I think there's ways you can Vaseline your beard. I know it's not ideal, but I think that's what Sikhs do in the British Army. Because obviously for religious reasons, they keep their beards and they have to wear a respirator. So I think there is a thing you can do with a beard, even though it's not really recommended. Yeah, I'm really going to have to look into it, Tom, because I knew it was like, I've heard it was bad before, but I'd never really looked into it. Didn't they have to call the National Guard in or something to confiscate people's guns, and they refused to do it at one point as well? Yeah, they violate the Constitution. Yeah, took everyone's guns. I think it was all arms or all this. Yes, it sounds terrible. I'll definitely have to watch if there's some good documentaries on that. Stuff about that. Oh yeah, the MP5 is good if you get one in good condition. Let me see if my MP5 is in my room. Oops, that was the wine bottle tipping over. Luckily the lid was on. Is the MP5 stored in here? Because if it is, I can show you. Is this the MP5? I think this might be the MP5's bag. Apparently, though, people were saying on Discord yesterday, a lot of the masks being sold as MP5s on eBay are actually the original French versions, which aren't as good. So weirdly, the Polish versions are actually better. Yeah, this is definitely a Polish one because it says mask Pol there. Right, so the problem with these masks is sometimes you get them and they've completely yellowed out there. Or like bits of the plastic has cracked or the rubber. But in terms other than that, my one's still quite soft and supple, as you can see. Still bends fine. You can use this with rifle scopes and things like that. I tested it with an air rifle. Right. Let me try and add everybody on Discord now that has been giving me IDs, because at the moment it's been... No, sadly, in the UK, it would be probably quite hard to own an MP5K. Isn't that where Australia is basically quarantining people? The thing with Christmas Island is, I mean, it's completely unrelated to this. That's where one of my dad's uncles was when they were part of like the British atomic tests, and all his kids died of leukemia or had birth deformities because, you know, they got all those soldiers, like when the Americans were doing the tests in the Pacific, to watch the nuclear, you know, get them to watch the nuclear tests, and their genetics got fucking scrambled by all the gamma rays. I imagine the radiation there now isn't anywhere near as bad, but, you know, it's just kind of an interesting hindsight. Right, thank you. What Mike's doing now is he's PMing me people's Discord IDs that have donated, so I can add them, you know, and see them in private chat, so I'm not losing the messages in a swarm of messages, you know. Right, so Blim and Chocolate Muffin. Let's... Chocolate Muffin's accepted. Right, who are the people I've recently added? I can look through the list and try and guess their names. Is there any that are pending? Blim is pending. Who was the person I added before Blim? Actually, tell you what, if I've just sent you a friend's invite on Discord, can you just PM me and ask for a link, and then I can just send you a link that way? Yeah, Christmas Island's near Australia. The Americans used it for nuclear tests as well, because I think Britain leased it to them for more. There's a load of good hydrogen bomb tests in Trinity and beyond there. Right, Blim accepted the friend's request. I can invite him to the server now. Invite to server. There we go. Oh, there's Nevertas as well, isn't there? Invite to server. There we go. Right. So hang on. There's Simon says, thank you, Simon. Do you think the virus going to wipe us all? Oh, sorry, I didn't see your last donation. I must have got too distracted. Did you post a Discord ID? But right, I don't think it will kill all life on Earth, because that's not happened at any point yet. But I think it could potentially get quite bad. And as Tom was correctly saying earlier in the stream, part of the problem is, even if the virus isn't causing massive problems, it can cause societal problems, you know, like stock market crashes, people looting, riots, that kind of thing, you know, more strain on medical services and things like that. So it's not just the one effect, which he was very good to point out, because sometimes you forget that. Because I think the problem for me at the moment is because all my comments are, where can I get this gas mask? Where can I get that gas mask? Does this gas mask work? At the moment, I'm just kind of thinking, virus particles, virus particles. Rushing Ranger says, the NBC 77 SOF filter by Myra Safety is a great filter with 20-year shelf life. Love your videos. Keep up the great work, man. Thank you, Rushing Ranger. Like, the thing is with Myra, I don't have any Myra masks. Some people like them, and a lot of people seem to hate Myra. Because I don't have any Myra masks, I don't really have an opinion. But I know Myra's Czech, aren't they? Because I'm pretty sure they redo some of the Czechoslovakian masks, but under different names. Not Czechoslovakia, sorry, Czech Republic masks, because it's the post-Cold War ones. Yep. What's your Discord name, Christoph? Or is it ID #0515? Because I'll have to have a name, because how you add people on friends is, and then invite them to a server, is you put their Discord name in, the hashtag, and then their Discord ID. Yeah. There was a video I saw on a plane where there was loads of people coughing and sneezing on a plane that was apparently going to Toronto, and they were taking people off on stretchers. There's another one where they've got a cruise ship under quarantine now, don't they, near Italy or somewhere, because there were people becoming ill on the cruise ship, and there were Chinese people on there. Yeah, sure, random person, just a second. Oh, I think Mike's probably PMing. The chat's moving too fast to actually get people's IDs properly. Hang on a second. All right, add friend. Sabian says, I just ordered for Shida A4. Could you show me its if features, if it's within reach? Also, does stubble break a seal? Depends how big the stubble is. Ideally, you should be completely clean shaven. Let me just add you on Discord before I do anything else and forget. And I think my Fushida should be within reach. I think it's one I keep in the cupboard hanging up. So other than me creating a lot of other than the all right, let me add you, Animaniacs. Animaniacs. Yeah, I remember Animaniacs. Oh, the chat keeps bloody moving when I'm trying to copy and paste your name. There we go. Right, copy and paste, and then go back to the chat. It doesn't like your name. Is the hashtag actually in your name at the front? No. Right, you're gonna have to re-give me your name because you've put a capital in the wrong place or something, or there should be a space somewhere and there isn't. Right, Ranger 2123 I need to add, and Slim 5368. Let me do that. Right, okay, chat's going crazy, but I'm adding all of you people. Just a second. The really nice thing is Mike's now just helping me by PMing me on Twitter, so I can actually do it that way. Right, let me just invite everybody to the server. As soon as you accept my friend's request, I'm able to send you a server invite. Right, if any of you get two, it won't make a difference. Right, the thing is with people saying, when can you start using a gas mask in public? I guess you'd probably have to wait for it to start getting really bad. Right. Let me try that again then. Flens Crafter. Yeah, Ghost Jesus, I just got Slim. Mike PM'd me. How the chat keeps moving as I'm trying to do the thing. If I scroll up manually, does it stop the chat moving? It's still not liking it. You've still got a capital or something in the wrong place. Are you able to copy and paste your name in exactly, please? Because that's why it doesn't work. Right. Right, anyway, I'll get the Fushida for the person that asked before I forget. Unless I've moved it. I think I might have moved it, I'm afraid. I thought I had it within easy reach, but it's not in the cupboard where it used to be. No, sorry about that. I've moved it, obviously, to tidy it up somewhere, so it's probably like sealed in one of those or in a wardrobe somewhere. There's no record of you donating on this stream, Thomas Watson. All right, okay, cool. Let me add you again then. Animaniacs even. But of course, the chat keeps moving every time I try and copy and paste your name. Still doesn't work. You've still got something not right about it. Either a capital in the wrong place or a not wrong number. If you're not copy and pasting it, copy and paste it, because that's what generally people do. They type the name out and they keep typing it with a capital in the wrong place. Right, Ruben's Aviation has been banned because all you will keep doing is spamming sub to my account, sub to my account. Thank you, Genna. What's the cheapest powered blower available? I really don't know. I built one myself once by using a camping airbed mattress blower you can get for £5 to £10 pounds or probably dollars anywhere, and literally gluing a 40mm filter onto it. That'll work, but it's not obviously the right real amount of airflow for a mask. It's a bit too much. But I mean, you're just gonna have to look on eBay. I know the Israelis do a powered air blower for like babies and little children and the elderly that can't breathe through masks very well. So it's probably going to be an Israeli surplus one, I imagine, because they're probably like one of the only nations that do them massively for civilians, rather than it being like a special kind of use military thing or police thing. So it's a weird capital there, and oh, for fuck's sake, the chat keeps fucking moving when I'm trying to copy and paste. Right. There we go, it worked that time, because, yeah. Right. Let me get rootless proletariats one. Right, I'm glad you like the info. Let me just add you to my friends. That's the only problem with streams now, is I'm getting and your name's not correct on there. Is there no spaces? Oh, there won't be a space between the end of your name and the hashtag, will there? That's it, that's why. Done. All right, thank you. I will add you, Thomas Watson. If it will let me copy and paste it. I think the problem is because your chat message is blue. Let me scroll up a second so I can get it. I think the problem is because the chat message is blue, you can't see the highlight over it. Right, there we go. Rootless proletariat, invite to server. I need to invite that guy. Invite the other guy to server who didn't click link in time. There we go. That should send an invite to that person. Right, hopefully that's all of the invites sent again. I need to send one to FN Lens Crafter. There we go. Right, so my thoughts on it, Simon, right now is that it's potentially going to get very bad. Although, so basically, anytime there's a kind of pandemic thing, I watch it with interest. But the weird thing is how many more views I'd normally get. Like when Ebola and stuff happened, most people did not give a shit, it seems, in comparison to this. So you can kind of get a feel for how bad it might be from how a lot of people seem to think about it. And I know a lot of people that would never normally in real life talk to me about this sort of stuff, and then they suddenly want to talk to me about it. So, okay, you think that's a bit bad. And the problem with this is it's spreading really fast. So when you have like a virus and something like that, there's two kind of factors. There's how deadly it is. So if you catch it, what your survival odds are. And there's how easily it spreads. Obviously, the worst case scenario is something that spreads really easily and has a really high fatality rate. This, we don't really know the fatality rate yet because there's so many contradictory sort of bits of info on it. However, it seems like it spreads very, very easily because it's got a big incubation period where you can still spread it. It seems that you can pretty much spread it from being public transport and things like that with people. It will spread through sneezing and coughing. So basically, it seems to spread like the cold or the flu. I think technically the common cold can be a type of coronavirus, can't it? They were saying on quite a lot of news channels. So the point is that it's going to really come down to fatality rates. But even if it ends up just making people ill for quite a while, even if it doesn't kill that many people, it's probably going to do a lot of damage to economies and all the shit like that. Let me just check Twitter in case I'm missing anything. I need to add hardcore pornography. I think that's the only one I've missed so far. And Willard. Okay, I need to add him and Willard. Just give me one moment. Right, so that's that. Let me add friends, add friend, that guy, and Willard. There we go. Right. Cleaning the MP5. Let's get it out again. So, basically, with just alcohol spray or a sanitizer, wipe down all the front and the inside. The MP5s at least never seem to come covered in talc. If you want to move the drinking tube in an MP5, it's this bit here. Your voice diaphragm is that bit here. Your exhale valve is under this cover. So if you ever need to replace the exhale valve with a standard umbrella valve of whatever size it is, that's under that cover. Standard 40mm filter intake is actually 40mm NATO. Although FP5 filters are normalized, that was just so they could use them with the older masks. This mask itself is NATO. If you're going to adjust the straps, that's one of the only annoying bits of the mask. I would advise working out what size you need the straps adjusted on and then very carefully adjusting them without pulling them too hard. Because although the mask is quite good, some of these bits don't feel all that, strong. And then these two bits, the bottom two straps, it's one of those weird French designs where you pull them down and it kind of hooks over like that. No, there's no vaccine. Some different medical agencies were saying they hope there could be a vaccine within 3 months, but they didn't know. So yeah, that gives you that sort of number. Yeah, the ARFA or whatever it's called. I've got the French version. I've got the tan French version. The French version actually isn't as good, weirdly, in terms of like bits getting brittle and stiff. Right, I actually have no idea about that, but thank you, USMC veteran. I'm glad you enjoy the things. But yeah, there was some patent thing, wasn't there, that sounded really suspicious. So whether or not you can patent flu vaccines or whatever, I have no fucking clue, but it's weird. But one of the things I try and do, because basically I just find this stuff interesting, is trying to go through enough information that I can get a good understanding of it and then just making it easily understandable for people. Because part of the problem I have a lot of the time is if I want to look something up, and this is even worse when you get into radiation stuff and not gas masks, like, ionizing radiation, is it basically is either the articles look like they're written for toddlers, like radiation is bad for you, radiation can be harmful, that sort of thing, or it's written by a physicist who basically is very snobby and doesn't want you to understand it unless you've taken 10 years of some sort of physics course. So part of like the thing with radiation is like slowly kind of breaking your way down through articles and then trying to work out how to explain it so people can understand it, but you're not actually giving them false information. Anyway, let me add the people who just donated. Cat Skit, let me add you. Because, yeah, when it comes to ionizing radiation, that's where it gets really complicated. Barraquels or Baraccarols, however his name's pronounced, and Curies and Rontgens and microsieverts and everything else, and how do they relate to each other and all that. Yeah, that's one of the annoying things. But, yeah, once you... Oh, thank you, Hazmat. Yeah, I've seen your comments. Because I recognise your weird orange kind of plushy type thing in the picture. Right, it doesn't like your name, Hazmat. Do you know why it doesn't like it? Is there a capital somewhere? That's my only guess. Yeah, like all this stuff. Dab Meat Tree, sorry. Let me add you as well. Yeah, this is just, I'm crazy because I'm not used to this. Like I had periods in my channel before where I get a lot of views. It'd be like a day or two of a spike and then it'd be back to normal. But now there's loads and loads of people donating and finding it and actually enjoying the content. I wear glasses. How can I properly wear a gas mask and glasses and not suffer leaks? Are there alternative options? Right. The easiest thing I could think of, and you certainly wouldn't want to do it with your main pair of glasses, but you could do it with spares, is to take the wings off the glasses or whatever they call them, or the temples, whatever they call them, and then somehow like glue or cable tie that bit of the glasses in front of the lenses. That would be the easiest thing I could think for people wanting to do it on no budget. Obviously do it with your spare pair, don't do it with your main pair. If you get an escape hood style mask or a hospital mask for wounded head patients, they tend to seal at the neck. So you could put glasses on there and tie those up at your neck. That's an option. There'd be certain masks with a powered kind of air pump or an air tank that you could probably wear with glasses because the gap the glasses would make in the side of the mask wouldn't be too big that it would cause an issue. But yeah, that's the thing with all the mask stuff is, like I think Tom was saying there, but I probably missed a few of the things he said, was that, if you've got no food or water or some other sort of basic supplies, having loads of masks and filters won't help you, just as with like all these things. Right, will do, Tom, but yeah. Oh, okay. This is what they need. 90 days stable food per person, means of defending it, mask of goggles, gloves, water, and a water filter. Just stay put in the house, avoid attention, lay low. Good idea. One of the bits that's interesting, and I'd have to show this in the video, is, I think I might have showed it in the video anyway, is protect and survive, right? As much as people think protect and survive is a bit wank because you're going to die in a nuclear war, which you pretty much were in the UK because of our small landside and how much the Soviets would have hit us with, they did have a good checklist in here. So, warning sounds and all that. Fallout room. Have you chosen your fallout room? That could just be an easily defendable thing. Have you blocked up your windows and other openings? Have you strengthened the outside walls and the floors above the fallout room? Inner refuge. Have you made your inner refuge? Have you strengthened it with dense materials? Have you put the following items in your fallout room? Enough water in sealed or covered containers to last you and your family for 14 days. Enough food to last you and your family for 14 days, including tinned or powdered milk for the children and food for the baby, and a closed cupboard and cabinet in which to store these supplies. A portable radio, 2 if possible, and spare batteries. A tin opener, bottle opener, cutlery, crockery, and cooking utensils. Warm clothing and changes of clothing. Bedding, a portable stove and fuel for it. Torches and spare bulbs, batteries, blah, blah, blah. Table and chairs, toilet accessories, first aid kit, notebook and pencils, cleaning materials, improvised lavatory set, a clock and a calendar. There'd be a lot of other things that would be worth brainstorming for something like that. But the funny thing of protect and survive is, why you wouldn't survive if you were in Britain and we got hit with everything the Soviets were probably going to throw at us. This book did actually have some useful things in it for, also the interesting thing in there is them saying that you have clean water in your toilet system, which I think a lot of people forget about. I mean, that's assuming that you've not got like mold or something growing in your toilet system. Obviously, the bit the toilet flushes from, is actually a place you can store water. Right. Sorry if I've missed any messages. Let me go back and have a look. Is there any modern large brick or coffee can filters that are safe to use? Right. The modern Chinese, there's 2. Edge, Blackstar, and thank you for the donation. Right. The best coffee can kind of big filter I can think of is the Polish FP203. Do I have it stored in this room? I might. If it's stored in this room, it will be in the Shums bag. Let me have a look. But that's the modern mask hole version of the old coffee cans. Like, they make it using the exterior metal case that the old ones had. But right, if it's in here, it's in here. If not, I don't know where it is off the top of my head. But the thing is with these, that it's in here. Right. So Polish FP203 filters. It's an EO14. It's made from the EO14 shell, but it's not the old asbestos inners to them. So if you wanted a really big, bulky, long-lasting filter, these I think are rated like ABEC 3 or ABEC 4 or something because they're so bulky. I think they mostly did these for industrial. Right, let me add you again, Stealth Camp. Sorry that you've put the right one. These were intended for this. There's also Chinese coffee can filters, but they don't seem to do multi-gas ones, unfortunately, unlike the old Soviet ones. It seems to be like you get one for whichever gas you want, and then it's just, impregnated charcoal specifically for that gas. They're safe as well, but, unless you wanted one for aesthetics, they're not that good for protection. Right, let me add you. Hazmat 7934. Done. Right, what did Ghost Jesus say? Thank you, Ghost Jesus. You were sending me some names as well. Right, let me go back to the friends list and send invites to anybody that I haven't got round to sending the invites to now. Right, Cat Skit, who has that one. Dabmitri, which has like a guy from Stalker but with a third eye on his forehead. There we go. And when the other guy accepts my thing, I can send him the thing. Right, if that's the Polish Furnace gas mask, I've got one on order weirdly at the moment because the first time I ever saw one was like 2 days ago, and then people were asking about it. So I was like, well, I might as well order one, and then I can tell you if I like it or not. But most modern Polish masks are actually very good. A mask I need to get at some point but don't have is, I think it was probably made by Phaser or Fraser, whatever they were called. I think they used them in Chernobyl in the TV series. But they're the Polish one that has like the windscreen wiper there, where there's like, a switch and it has like a windscreen wiper in the mask, which is pretty cool. I think they used it in the scene when the divers went in, but I think it's like a Fraser industrial mask it was actually designed for. Danish military masks. So are they old British ones basically that were surplused? Because for quite a long time, Denmark's masks were basically just British light anti-gas respirators. that when Britain sold them as surplus, Denmark bought them and then resold them as surplus again. Yeah, the Discord is just basically a community server. So if people donate once and get me their ID, I can invite them. The only problem is when people donate and then later on want me to add them, and I can't remember if they donated or not. It's one of the reasons I prefer it in some ways when people do it through Patreon, because when they do it through Patreon, they can PM me on Patreon and I can actually see that they donated. Right, are there any on eBay? Let's have a look. Let me have a look for you, see if there's any FP203 filters on eBay. Not coming up under FP203 filters. Let me search mask pole filter. There's FP5s coming up. But no, there's no FP203s coming up unless they're being put under a weird name. But again, when I bought mine, I don't think the seller had loads in stock. And it wasn't B-Store who sent that to me either. It was one I bought from, I think, a random Polish seller. Right. It depends what you're using them for. Against vapors and gas and things like that, coffee can filters, just because of the sheer size of them, and like the big canister filters last a lot longer. That's like why most World War 1 and World War 2 filters were like that, because the filter mediums weren't as good. The issue is, generally in terms of particle protection, they clog just as quickly. There's actually an interesting thing you can see that the Soviets did with the coffee cans. I don't know if you know this, but you know, like these Soviet EO16 and EO65K coffee can filters, they actually have a 40mm screw in the bottom. And the reason was for that the Soviets had a GOST particle filter, and it was specifically designed to go on the bottom of the coffee cans, so the filter didn't clog and become really useless for soldiers being like hit with tear gas and stuff like that. Is it on the map near Croatia? Let's have a look. There's a map in the description. There's none confirmed near there yet, but that doesn't mean the map's up to date. The closest is Germany and Finland to Croatia. Apparently, the Russians closed the land border with China today, didn't they? Which is pretty serious. Fushida A4. If there's still some on eBay, there's still some on eBay. And even though the Fushida A4s used to be expensive, they're probably not in comparison now if they've not inflated any more in price. Let me see if I can find some. No results for Fushida A4 coming up unless it's trying to correct me. Oh yeah, it thinks I want 4 head 4. No. Right, but still no Fushidas coming up. Let me see if I can find one under F2. No? Okay, let me see if I type in Swedish gas mask, if any come up. But they've probably all sold out. No, the only thing coming up on UK eBay at the moment for me is the old satchels for the Swedish M51s. Cheers, Alex. I'm glad you find the videos helpful. It really doesn't matter too much with gas mask, Satirical Gamer, as long as you've got your eyes and face protected. It comes down to the filter quality, so you need particulate filters. P100 or P3 filters, depending on where you are in the world and what they call them, is the best. Worst case scenario, go for a P1 or a P2, but you should really be going for P3. The military ones are worth a lot more. Would I pay $150 for it is kind of a question. I don't think it would be worth that much. They're very good masks, but bear in mind, for $150, when masks aren't inflated in price, you can buy brand new masks from quite good manufacturers for that price. Like Scott Pro Masks, which is basically the civilian version of the M98. Basically, the M98 without the drinking tube system in it. They can literally go for like £120 brand new. And if somebody said to me, would I get a Fushida F2A4 second hand for 150 quid? Or, you know, a brand new Pro Mask, I go for the brand new Pro Mask. But the interesting thing is somebody who was Swedish was telling me in the comments the other day, and I hope he's right, that Sweden is planning to start redoing the Fushida masks for civilians. So quite soon they'll be doing new production runs on them. It shouldn't affect the mask at all. The Soviet masks are made from like some sort of weird silicon material. Not silicon, sorry, latex. And as far as I'm aware, I've cleaned them with alcohol before and never had any problems. And the Soviet masks are decently thick latex, especially the children's masks. Right, let me see what the survival mask is, Unknown 101 then. Right, survival mask. Oh, is it that shit one that's there? It's that shit one that's there, isn't it? It's shit, it's shit, it's shit. Right. I can't get over. Face fit testing, that was covered in today's video. But yeah, the thing is with face fit testing, good luck getting that done. How much are you going to pay to do that professionally unless it's done for your job? Just find the nearest size to you, do a banana oil test or do some pressure tests. That's the best you're going to get. When I've had jobs before where I was issued respirators, I wasn't even face fit tested. So, and I know the British Army for a long time didn't even face fit test, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Just do the usual thing of try and guess your size. So yeah, I bought the version that came with the goggles that you can put on separately or the mask. It's utter wank. I mean, it would be better than a really cheap dust mask. That's about it. Because those filters, they were brand new organic vapor filters. I got the banana oil. Literally, it was like not having a filter there. I could just sniff it like that. All right, what did I... What are people arguing in the thing? Right, just to warn people, we don't normally talk about politics on the Discord. So if somebody's being a cunt on there, they are literally going to get kicked regardless of if they've just donated or not. Because you respect other people's views on there. You don't have to agree with them, but don't start calling people fucking Nazis or like whatever, because you just look like a weirdo, you know, child. I'll look into the Discord thing as soon as the stream ends and then ban people as needed, but I'm just going to say that now. You've got a warning if people don't stop. But as I'm doing a stream, I can't go and moderate a Discord server right now. What job would you least like doing? Probably another customer service focused job, in all honesty. I did say cunt, yes. Right. If you mean GMAC, if a combination filter expires, so this will be a good example. Let me unscrew this so we can look directly at the filter. Right. This is expired, I believe, this one. So what you're saying is if the filter expires, right, can you still use the particle protection bit that's at the front? Yes. Because the particle bit still works, because the particle bit is quite simple. The issue is with filters, obviously, is the charcoal bit expires first because it basically just dries out and the charcoal fully absorbs stuff. Do you mean like the red one, like I showed Edge Black Star? As I said, I couldn't find any on eBay just now. I bought mine on eBay a while ago, as in months ago. When I looked just now, none on there, unless they're listed under something else. What is it? Allegro, the Polish kind of like supermarket online thing. Is that Allegro? For any of my Polish viewers that are on, is that Allegro? Let me have a look, because Allegro PL, is that it? Yeah, it is. Right. Okay. Right, Allegro. Let me see if I can find the filters on there, because sometimes Allegro, although I've never actually bought from them, Polish people have told me that it's actually better for finding Polish surplus on there. Right. Anyway, if I just link to Allegro, just for people in the chat, there you go. Yeah, so what you're saying, GMAC, is if you're using a filter and the like organic vapor and organic vapor, basically the charcoal section fully absorbs stuff, the particle filter will still keep on working. Yes, particle filters don't stop working until they either get so old that they crumble, or you like drop the filter hundreds of times or poured water through it or something like that. The only time these filters end up, the particle filters would break under normal conditions is when they become so saturated because you've been breathing through like smoke and dust non-stop. Why would you want to vacuum the charcoal? In all honesty, I think trying to vacuum out a filter might do more harm than good to it. Thank you, Ryan. Right. What I would suggest is a few people have said swimming goggles for eye protection. That's a good idea because they don't have vents in. Weapon Collector did a video today showing goggles. He was saying that his had holes in, but you could tape them up if you needed to. The problem is I don't have any specific goggles that are like, anti-acid kind of things like that, that are airtight. I've got ones that are designed to protect your face from being splashed. Right. Yeah, I know there was arguing on there, Chris, but I said I can't really moderate it until... And as soon as the stream finishes, I might end up sadly having to ban people if there are people deciding to be political dickheads. But as I said, the problem is I can't moderate a Discord while I'm trying to keep up with the chat in the stream. S10s have been going up in price for a while, just simply because the Avon have not been producing them for like 10 years. I have no ideas. I wouldn't think it could enter through your ears, but, you could wear a rain hood or something, couldn't you? What, as in a vacuum, like a vacuum chamber? No idea. I mean, that would preserve them for longer, I assume, but I don't have access to a vacuum chamber. I didn't ever end up fixing the PPM 88's diaphragm. In theory, if I dismantled the mask, I could put a new piece of plastic in there, but I've just not been bothered to do it, and I don't even know where I've got the PPM 88 stored now. Everything's shooting up in price. It really doesn't seem to matter the mask at the moment. They're just either sold out everywhere or they've massively gone up in price just because everybody's desperate to get masks all of a sudden. Yeah, cool. I'll have a look in a minute, Chris. I think the problem, though, is just because so many new people have been invited on recently just due to donations because of this corona thing, you're probably going to attract some people. If you know, well, I suppose the problem is you can't link them, can you, Demulux? As soon as Mike's on Discord, he'll definitely get an admin or, like, moderator kind of role. But the issue is at the moment, of course, that Mike's not got it. And, for the most part, everybody is pretty calm on there. I think the problem is just because if you get a load of people invited, that's when probably somebody will decide to do it just to be a dickhead. You mean the P3 filters? They'll last absolutely ages, NY City, because they're particulate filters. Unless you are basically spraying sawdust into the air every day or just standing in smoke, they will last months and months and months and months, if not years. Yeah, good idea, Ghost Jesus, with what you just said. Sorry, I'm not going to type a reply just now. Oh, let me add you, Wesley, sorry. 6,800. Let me have a look at it. I don't have that particular one. Oh, so that's the full face one. I don't have one, but it should be fine. Bear in mind there are both Chinese copies and actual 3Ms of those. But in terms of every other 3M mask I've used, they've always been good. But yeah, the main thing I'd say is Chinese copies of 3M masks. It doesn't like your name, H Superman. Is there a capital or not a capital in a certain place? Because that's generally why it won't like people's names on Discord when I try and add them. But yeah, Chinese copies of 3M masks tend to not be that bad. The The main issue is that the Chinese filters tend to be awful, that they basically put with those 3M copies. So if you're getting a Chinese 3M copy, for example, get proper 3M filters for it. I've seen the person who just PM me, but I said, at the moment, I'm not going on the server to fix it until the stream ends, because I don't know why you need to feel the need, to ask me so many times. Aaron, right, let me add you. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit annoying when I say something and people just ignore me. I'm just saying that. Where, can you do something? I'll do it in a minute. Yeah, why not? Don't you do it now? I know you're probably just doing it as an evidence thing, but I do have an admin log so I can see what people delete and change their post to. Right, Aaron accepted it, so I can invite him. I really don't know, Vesta. That would be where you'd probably have to ask somebody a lot more into prepping than me about that. Because what we do is, in our house, we always make sure we've got a bit of food and water stored. And when I say a bit, I mean, if everybody rationed it, it would last a month. If people ate what they normally ate, but, we didn't buy any more food, it would last 2 weeks maybe. So it's going to depend how you want to do it, how much storage space you've got and stuff like that. But, All right, let me try again then, Wesley. Yeah, thanks. I just saw you PM me as well, Ghost Jesus, about it. No, it still doesn't like it. Can you copy and paste it exactly? What it's going to be is that there's a capital in the wrong place or something, I imagine. But that still doesn't like it. German M65, Draeger M65s, a good mask theoretically. The issue is they have a very poor peripheral seal, so lots of people just find they can't get them to fit their face. M65s don't work for me. A lot of other people report the same problem. A lot of M65 clones work for me, but the actual M65s themselves, I find, don't fit my face at all. Yeah, it's got that weird chin bit where it kind of just leaves a gap there and air gets through. And they've got really shit straps, M65s. A lot of M65 clones have better straps. That's the funny thing, so you can get them to fit better. Wow. If money didn't matter, probably something like the Scott M98, Scott M120 out of all the masks I've got. In theory, the Avon FM53 would be the best one that I know of at the moment that people recommend, because I've never had one. I can't say if it would be good or not. He changed the setting. Right, let me try again then. What's your name? HG Man. Nope, still didn't work. It's not saying that they've not got friends that I can't send them. It's saying that the capitalization and all that's wrong. Sunstorm masks are meant to be good. A guy I know called Eric, who's Swedish, when he used to do a lot of welding stuff, I think he said use Sunstorm masks and they were good for welding and respiratory stuff then. Right, the Ferenz one has been asked several times. I've got one on order. I don't have it yet. From looking at pictures, it looks like it's good, but I can't confirm that until I get one. But I don't think you'd go wrong ordering one if it's in good condition, in all honesty. Yes, it is. Scott is a Western company. They're American. So, yeah. I've already said about the glasses thing. Your options aren't very good. Get laser eye surgery, I guess, is the easiest thing to say, or use contact lenses. But if you're going to use glasses like me, if you've got a spare pair, take the arms off of them and cable tie or glue them into a gas mask. If you're not prepared to do that, very little options. Yeah, Barack Obama, of course I can add you on Discord. Former President Barack Obama. If the chat stops moving and I can paste it. Didn't work. You've probably put a space where there isn't a space or something. So both Barack Obama and the other guy who posted an ID that hasn't worked yet, you need to work out what's wrong with your names, as in capitals in the wrong places, spaces. Longest I've worn a mask? Hard to think. I've definitely worn one for like several hours at a time before. When I did a charity fun run one year, although I walked it, I didn't run it. I did that in an old NBC suit with a gas mask on, an S10 on for the entire thing, and that would have been a few hours. And that was actually like doing, physical stuff, going up and down hills with an NBC suit, the gloves on and the mask and everything. Depends on the size of these, but if these go past where the mask seals, it won't seal. Right, let me try the Barack Obama one again. Was it just that he didn't have a space in it? Then, Ghost Jesus. Let's try it without a space. Alright, that's worked now without the space. Rubbing alcohol is very good. There is stronger kind of like bleach-based things, but then again, they could damage other materials. Right, Israeli children's masks would be the best ones for children, if you can get them. If not, there's probably still loads of... Right, see up there? There's a Soviet children's mask there, the PDF. Soviet PDFD children's masks. The problem is they're 40mm GOS, not NATO, but they are at least the right size for children. So if you ended up getting something like a Polish FP5 filter, you could put that on and you'd have a children's mask with a filter. And they did the PDF in loads of different sizes. It's probably a bit small to see there, but there's actually a bit on there about children's PDF masks on that Soviet civil defense poster. Right, thank you, Stealth Camp. Stay safe. Yeah, 95% rubbing alcohol is good, Christy. Do not drink it because that can kill you. It's a bit like drinking methanol rather than ethanol. But it's good in terms of using as a sanitizer, yeah. Right, see you, little vamp. Right, I'm going to be off in a minute anyway, because this has been going on 1 hour and 37 minutes, and I can't really keep up with the chat. I'm just trying to hope that anybody that's donated can get me their ID sorted, because there's still somebody who didn't get me one. Then I need to go and moderate, unfortunately. But yeah, as Ghost Jesus just said, if you can get your Discord ID to him, or you can do it at a later point and just say, I donated on the stream the other day, here is my Discord ID, when you work out why it's not letting me add you. Are you already added though, Doggo? But if you're not, it says the only message from you, Doggo, is the one where you just said I donated £1. You could suffocate, I imagine. The easiest way of suffocating would be if you roll over and you block an airflow bit and you didn't wake up. I mean, the thing is, I think you'd hope that you could wake up, because you'd blocked your airflow, but you never know. I think you'd actually really struggle to sleep with a mask on. I mean, if you were trained like military trained and they teach you all those fast fall asleep things, you might be able to. But... yeah, I'll be on Twitch for sure, Mike, while also watching the news in another tab. Oh, my dosimeter just beeped. Why did it beep then? No, apparently you can't get it from eating food. It has to be like passed on, I guess, from like inhaling it or like, eyes and nose. It's like an inhalation thing, it seems to be, rather than an ingestion thing. I don't know why it beeped, because it's saying it's only 0.28 microsieverts. That's not very scary. Is a GP5 good? It was good when the Soviets mass-produced it in the 1970s. Would I recommend a GP5 today other than collector's value? Not really. What was I doing with multitasking? I'm not even aware. Oh, watching the news and Mike's stream at the same time. But anyway, I'm going to have to go off in a minute. So thank you, everybody. This has been a crazily busy stream. I think the most people I've ever had in a stream, because it went to 500 at some point. How many did you have on your Area 51, though, stream, Mike, when you did that? That was even higher, wasn't it? But most people didn't stay very long. I've not got a Russian PMK2. I've got a Russian PMK1, which is shit. I've got a Russian PMK3, which is meh. The PMKS is meant to be very good, but the PMK1, the regular PMK series is a bit crap because it's when the Soviets engineered a mask rather than just doing it simple. Right, I'm just gonna try H Superman again just in case it works, because Shot Zombies just not Shot Zombie, sorry, Ghost Jesus has just sent me his thing again. Right. It's worked that time. Never mind. There we go. It's worked. It's worked. H Superman's links worked. Why it worked that time, I don't know. I'm just gonna have a look at the two ones Ghost Jesus sent. Both were #4450. Both were exactly the same in the chat. Yeah, when I copied and pasted the last one, it worked. Who knows? I think Discord doesn't work quite right like that sometimes. But there you go. It peaked at 1,623 viewers. Yeah, that's the problem if people throw money at me, the dude. Because if I do a perk that if you donate, you can have like a Discord server where you can chat with me and other people into sort of militaria collecting. That's what goes wrong. That's weird. This actually ticks like a watch. I suppose it's pulsing a GM tube. That's probably why it ticks, but that's kind of weird. Okay. Yeah, so great stream. Thanks, everybody. I also need to remember to try and find Tom on Facebook. If not, I suppose I can Patreon ask what his Facebook is through the thing, because I support them on Patreon. You can donate via Patreon. People can donate via PayPal, but it's a bit of a longer process. We won't talk about that today. We can do it another time. So anyway, yeah, thank you, everybody. I'm going to need to do some moderating now, unfortunately, because it seems like there's a politics argument going on, it sounds like, which isn't good when we just want to talk about surplus. But yeah, right, see everybody. Have a good evening and stay safe, everybody, because, yeah, things are heating up, aren't they? Right. See ya. Goodbye. Good evening. Good night. Good morning, whatever time zone you're in.